ones that touch my heart the most, I will say, are the parents who come back after the parental rights have been terminated and they have no further contact with their children, and they want that contact, particularly in a situation where they have a post-adoption contact agreement with the new family and they haven't been able to get their visits and that sort of thing. So I really take a lot of time with those folks. I help them file a petition in equity. I often will try to just do it informally, where I will call the Department of Social Services and say, if you have any contact with the family, is there any way to reestablish this contact? I'm going to do it informally. I have two moms who drop off gifts for their children because they're mentally, they're not cognitively able to put a package in the mail and get it to their child. And so I take those and make sure that they get it to where they need it. So those are really the interventions where the healing connection is still there. And maybe the formal process of the court can't address this, but I think human beings who work in the court can.
When we spoke, I told you that the juvenile court has been a priority with me, and I've had going to being a judge, what do you feel that you need to make that transition?
I think I have a very open door policy with all of the attorneys and the folks at the court. And I think there's a certain feeling of warmth and respect there. I think that a lot of people are struggling right now with the idea of having me not as someone that they can come to all the time for personal advice and being somebody who they would have to appear before already prepared. So I think that's going to be the big adjustment within the clerk's office and for me to sort of step back and allow people to come before me after already having done what I usually have them do now. And I think that the bar is going to have a little bit of an adjustment period.
I was impressed with your voluntary membership on different committees and as a faculty member and training conference. I'm really impressed that you took the time off to do that. I was looking at working with families right from the start. Some of those things that I read about, this is very impressive. I especially, and I'd like to see it, you co-authored paternity and finding fathers. As I said, I think, I have met with fathers that have been involved in divorce, and it's heart-wrenching. And, I've met with them here, arranged to have meetings with them, and 2 hours the last time when I talked with a few of them, and it's for me, I really, in this position, I'm not a legislator, and I really can't do much. And how do you feel about it with your experiences as a sole practitioner and assistant clerk magistrate, what you see in the court as far as fathers are concerned?
Well, I think that if you had seen me in May at a training that I did with court investigators for the court, that was one of my main talking points. Don't ignore fathers. It's such a sticking point because, legally we're required to bring them into the process. But familiarly, for the child's identity, I can't tell you the number of times I found fathers as an attorney for the Department of Social Services. I had a fellow show up one time from St. Kitts because I published in the newspaper down there because there had been a rumor that the father was from one of the islands down there. And he showed up and reestablished a relationship with his 12 and 13-year-old daughters that he didn't know where they were. The mother had left the island to Massachusetts, and the children suddenly had their father back. And I think that what often happens